Well, in this video I'm going to be talking about the Enochian Aethyrs and astral projection. Basically, what the Enochian Aethyrs are and how they're used is a systematic way of working yourself through and being initiated into further and further more subtle layers of existence. In astral projection, classically, the individual leaves their body and in a sense they're basically wandering around. The good thing about the occult and using symbols is that you can enter and time after time go to the very same astral plane if you want to. Using the Tattvas is a very classical way of doing this. Obviously, every element has a symbol, and every symbol is associated with a layer and quality of the astral plane. So depending on what type of working you're trying to do, what kind of experience you're trying to have, this is a very good way to choose it and to be able to do it consistently and not having to basically be at the mercy of the astral plane, walking around and just waiting to have these experiences, which I'm sure eventually you would if you were on the non-physical plane enough, but you're going to learn a lot about it and how the individual planes work by using Tattvas, because obviously you'll have a experience of the direct correlation between that and the astral plane. And usually before you use it to astral project, you're going to do kind of a scrying onto it to feel the nature of that element, to kind of connect with it, and then you'll go on to use it as a doorway in astral projection in order to get, like I said, to that specific layer of reality. And how it connects with the Enochian Aethyrs, obviously, is that the Enochian Aethyrs, like I said, they're out-of-body experiences, but they're using very specific symbols. And here, it's 30 concentric circles around a central point. It's a very simple way to put it, but it's also very subtle and very clear, because obviously you're working towards a goal. It's right there in front of you. The more inward you go, the more pure, the more heavenly it is, so obviously you want to work as far as you can into them. And how they work, and how it's been described, is that when you're working on the elemental table, you're working with entities. When you're working with the Enochian Aethyrs, you're most likely working with places with personalities attached to them. So you do the 19th call of the Enochian. The only thing you change is the governor in what you say in the first sentence of the 19th call, and then at the very end you will say and look at the sigils of the entities underneath it, and the first one is text, and then it has a few underneath and it has their sigils. So you do the call, obviously, to get yourself into a magical state, to get into a trance, to invoke that very particular energy, and then you're looking at its sigil while you might be laying down and basically going into a trance to leave your body, or you may be in a meditative posture doing the same thing, but going into a trance, and then eventually using this either for a manner of like remote viewing or scrying, or a direct out-of-body experience, in which case you'll either be brought directly to that scenario without any intermediary or feeling, or you'll use it as a doorway. You might even experience the entity coming to get you and taking you there. And I've had hundreds of astral projections, and what makes magic unique, I feel like, or at least to me, is the interaction of the entities. Yes, you contacted entities doing normal astral projection, but they didn't seem as specific as they do in magic. For some reason, these entities are highly associated with these practices, and no matter who you are or what you really know about it, for some reason people have the same experiences most of the time, or at least very similar. And this is if they're not similar, well, the people obviously have very different ways of describing it, because I think once you get down to the very basics of it, there's a few fundamental rules in which they go by, and it's only the individual's varying layers or types of perception that makes it different. And here is a list, or a diagram, of all the Enochian Aethyrs. starting from number 1, and the entities underneath it, then you see their sigils there. Also, with the exact same way, and you're not gonna be working with entities with this. They're definitely there once you astral project, obviously, but a very simple way, if you don't want to be working directly with entities, you feel like Aetheric working is a little bit more advanced and you want to do something more general. I mentioned this in an earlier video, but pathworking with Enochian letters, it's just like doing it with the elements. But like I said, each symbol is associated with a very particular, not only state of mind, but level on the non-physical planes, whether they exist on the astral, the mental, or the buddhic. And here is Astral Dynamics, one of the best books I've honestly ever read on astral projection, and it was his ideas on tactile stimulation and using your imagined body to get you out of your body were the means in which I truly was able to astral project at a very high skill level. Using visualization and stuff is very good, but tactile stimulation just seems to work better for me, and a lot of people have said the same. And here is a diagram showing the astral plane according to him, and basically what I was talking about is, you see there's general astral planes, like this is probably the etheric and the astral and the mental and the buddhic, and they go, and then the smaller little things here are sub-astral planes, basically, you know, worlds or little tiny places where things are a bit different. Every astral plane has a general feeling to it, it's unique in a certain way, but it also obviously has sub-aspects of it as well. And I think in the Tattvas, you see, this is actually a good example, there's going to be a plane for basically, for spirit, that's the main symbol, but obviously you put fire in the center, so you're on the plane of spirit in the sub-area that's associated with fire. So you see there's a many different associations that you make, and Crowley said this about the Kabbalah as well, is that the tree of life, every tree of life has another tree of life in it, and it has a little bit of every element, so there's a little bit of everything and everything, basically, if you want to put it like that. Let's see. So, basically, the next thing I want to talk about, and it's along the same lines of using symbols, and this goes back to a normal sigil by Austin Osman Spare in the classical sense, in that you make it yourself. Draw out something that says, I want to be fully aware while out of body, take away the repeating letters and the vowels, and then make it into a symbol. And you're going to be doing the exact same thing with that symbol as you did with the other symbols they were using, such as the Tattvas, that you want to use it as a manner of impressing on your mind what you want to do. And in your thinking, you might even work out a particular plane that you want to go to. And I think that would, if that's within your mind, that's how you do automatic drawings. You have a certain context, but you let your mind do it by itself. So that would work its way into that. So make a sigil based on your idea of wanting to astral project or go to an Aether, and then meditate on it before you go to sleep, or meditate on it to the point, and do the out-of-body techniques as well if you need help actually leaving your body. So go into a trance, do the techniques, and then use the symbol as a doorway or as a kind of mirror type device for scrying. Both are very effective, and both, I know from first-hand experience, have brought about very profound effects. Indeed, it's probably one of the most interesting things I've ever done. It's completely outside of your normal range of experience. Basically, if you don't do it, you'll never see anything like it, and I would recommend it. So, anyone interested in working with the astral plane, the Enochian Aethys are an excellent way to work through them, using sigils and using the Tattvas and using the Enochian letters, all of which will give you a very clearly and defined path for working through the astral plane. And I think it's very necessary so you don't get caught up in one little area and get specialized in that, because there's a whole very many different layers in which you can explore. And that should about sum it up. Thank you for watching.